Awesome. And you can choose to have your video on or not at this point in the evening. And we'll get into that in the housekeeping bit. But first of all, welcome. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Learning as We Grow annual meeting. It's our second Kearsarge Food Hub Learning as We Grow annual meeting, and I will be your co-host. My name is Hannah. I'm a co-founder and director of marketing communications here at KFH. And I'm joined by France tonight as my co-host.
Hi, everyone. I'm France. I'm co-founder, co-executive director, and just so happy to be here with all of you.
Yes, awesome. And we also have Tara here. She is monitoring the chat for us, and we're going to get into using the chat a little bit later. So we're going to have questions coming from the chat later in the evening. So let's set the stage for the night. Here's the program. We have a lot planned for you tonight. We're going to try to take it nice and slow as we go through the presentation section for the evening. We are going to reflect on 2022. We have a lot to dig into from our work last year. And what better way to do that than hear directly from our program leaders about our various KFH services. We do a lot here at KFH, and we're going to cover a lot of ground and hear from our program leaders for the first part of this section this evening. And then we're going to head into a listening session. So really what we want is for you to keep in mind one central question as you're hearing about our services throughout the evening, which is, what would you like to see us do to significantly improve your experience and enhance your engagement with KFH? It's a big question. We're going to provide a lot of context. If you're new to us and you don't know a lot about our services, you're going to learn about a lot about it tonight. So think about that question as you're hearing our presentation, and then we're going to have a really first ever community-wide listening session for the second part of this evening. So we're going to break out into smaller groups and discuss and respond to this question. And before we dig into the good stuff, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. We have, let's see, lots of folks tuning in. No, don't do that. We have lots of folks tuning in, and we'd love to know where you're coming from. So put your name in the chat, where you're tuning in from, and of course we have to ask, and we have to know what you're eating for dinner tonight, or your favorite meal of the day, or anything food related, your favorite way to eat a potato. We like to do that one here at KFH. So yeah, just let us know who you are, where you're tuning in from, and once again, use the chat to leave questions, comments at any time. We will have a brief Q&A directly with our program leaders when they're presenting on their programs using the chat. And then we will, as I said, have a chance to discuss and have your voices heard during the discussion listening session portion of the evening. Okay. Before we move forward, we wanted to warm it up a little bit with a little something that we made on Sweet Beet Farm last year. If you haven't seen it, strap in. It's the Veggie Harmony. Let's go.
I am a worm, I am a bird, I am a traveling bee. I could be eggplant, I could be transplant, I could be veggie harmony. I am a worm, I am a bird, I am a traveling bee. I could be eggplant, I could be transplant, I could be veggie harmony. I am a worm, I am a bird, I am a traveling bee. I could be eggplant, I could be transplant, I could be veggie harmony. I am a worm. Traveling bee. I could be eggplant, I could be transplant, I could be veggie harmony. I am a worm. Traveling bee. I could be eggplant, I could be transplant, I could be veggie harmony. Traveling bee. I could be eggplant, I could be transplant, I could be veggie harmony. I am a worm. I'm a traveling bee. I could be eggplant, I could be transplant, I could be veggie harmony.
All right. I hope that came through. I know it was a little fuzzy on my end. Thanks for bearing with us in this silliness. This video, this Veggie Harmony, represents the beauty and the joy and sometimes, yes, the silliness of many voices coming together. And that's what tonight is all about. bringing more voices, your voices, to the table to co-create a shared vision for the future. As a nonprofit organization, we are here to serve you in the best way that we can. And so we're here tonight to share with you our impacts from 2022 and to hear your thoughts and feedback as we look ahead. Next slide, Hannah.
That's correct.
I am a
Nope, not again.
We imagine you signed up for this event because, like us, you envision a resilient and connected community where everyone is empowered to access healthy food, where local farmers are supported and the land is nourished, and where all people share a common sense of place. This vision is lofty in so many ways, but when I look around at the state of the world and consider what my one-year-old son's life might look like in the future, I think about how important it is that we do what we can today to move our culture in this direction. It's been an incredibly humbling experience to watch this community blossom over the last several years that I've been involved in this work. Businesses have returned to Bradford. Families are moving to this area because it's a place that is nourishing for their lives and their children. We are undergoing a revitalization of the community by the community. Next slide, Hannah. And since our inception, our KFH community has grown in incredible ways. Just in 2022, we had 34 employees, 9 board members, 80 volunteers, 4,200 customers, 546 donors, 205 students on the farm, 148 vendors in Sweet Bee Market, and 350 families were supported by donations. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of community. That's a lot of people in our community contributing to our shared vision. And so now I'd like to pass it over to my co-executive director, Lauren Howard, for a little bit more.
Hi, everyone. So part of what drives us towards our vision, what essentially drives us towards our shared vision, is our mission. And that essentially is these initiatives. Those are what bring our mission to life. These 4 initiatives listed here. The first 3 that you see tie directly back to our mission statement: cultivating food sovereignty, growing engaged learners, and nurturing community are the drivers that inform everything we do from day to day. And every single program activity touches on one or more of these initiatives. Our annual report, coming to you after the meeting, will bring you on a deep dive into what we've accomplished towards this vision in the past year and help tie it all together through tangible outcomes, both qualitative and quantitative. The 4th initiative here, strengthening organizational vitality, is a new one, and it centers our team of people whose collective effort and care really makes it all possible. We've opted to include this as a core strategic objective because, well, it's always been central and top of mind, and we want to be sure to get it right. So essentially that comes back to the fact that without a thriving organization, a vibrant company culture that's inclusive, we can't do our best work to contribute to the kind of world, like Franz mentioned, that we want to see for ourselves and our community. So we're formalizing it and setting tangible goals and creating buy-in and accountability around this objective. To this end, we recently hosted an operational strategy session with our leadership team and started honing in on these definitions. Please take some time to read through them, internalize the breadth and the depth of what they represent. These are the areas where we'll continue to invest our time and our resources, again, to realize this shared vision of ours. Over the next weeks and months, we'll be working to solidify clear, achievable goals and tactics that orient concretely to each of these initiatives. And we're going to be working on developing a disciplined approach to enacting the program and organizational plans in a way that's effective and sustainable. I'm so excited about the direction we're going as an organization. We've come a really long way. We're entering our 8th year at KFH, and we've grown immensely in a very short period of time. Tonight, we'll be hearing from our program leaders about what they've been up to lately and how their work contributes to the mission and initiatives we're speaking about here. They'll also be sharing a bit about what they're looking forward to in the year to come. So without further ado, let's jump in.
Hi, everyone. To acknowledge this land we are inhabiting today, I'd like to introduce our community partner, a New Hampshire state representative, a leader of the Abenaki Trails Project, and someone I've had the pleasure of working with in the Abenaki Seeds Project, Sherry Gold.
Hi, thank you. I'm going to read a little land acknowledgement statement that part of it's special for tonight, and part of it is something that Kathleen Bigford and I worked on for the town of Bradford. So it's very local. We are on the land which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange among Indigenous peoples for thousands of years, and is the home of the Western Abenaki people. And in Abenaki, that is Indaibina Alnobaki, Wadzonmin, Kwana do Benawab, Taaloawi, Nagoni, Adalmaa Doak Ta Awozon, Wobanakiak Ta Ai Alnobak, Udak Iwo. Nebizonik provided healing waters, and people exchanged goods at the village site behind Lake Massasecum, calling this land home. The town of Bradford honors, recognizes, and respects these Abenaki as the traditional stewards of the lands and waters on which we gather today. In that spirit, we will begin by acknowledging that we are guests in this land. We need to respect and help protect the lands within our use and share of the bounty with our Abenaki partners today. And I just want to quickly explain Nebi Zone Beek is the place of medicine waters. And so to break that word down the way our language works, Nebi is water. So when you think about Sunebi, Sunebi, Sanebi, it is rocky water, San being rock and Nebi being water. So Nebi is water. Nebi Zone is the garden. So, and it's about medicine. This is the word for medicine, that medicine is a field full of, no, garden. It's the word for garden. I'm dyslexic. It's the word for garden because a garden is a field full of medicine. And so that all the plants are medicine, and that the basis of it all is water. That without water, we have no medicine, we have no plants, we have no life, really, right? So Nebi Zone Beek is the name for Bradford Springs, for the healing waters. And I quickly want to just add that being a partner with Kearsarge Food Hub has just been amazing. I mean, years ago when Bill and I first saw these kids open this little farm stand beside the post office, we're like, yay, I can't believe they can make anything of this, but yay, go you. And look what they've done with it. It's been so exciting. And just recently, I don't even know how I came upon it, but I did. It's a program, and I just had it up so I could read it. Let me get to it again. It was PBS did this program, Communities and Consequences, and it was on rebalancing New Hampshire's human ecology. And I'm watching it, and this was you can find it on PBS, and I could put a link in the chat. But this was done October 2nd of 2020 that it originally aired. And I was just so excited when we got to the part where it talked about examples of how communities are engaging youth in the community and making our communities welcoming place for young people. And Kearsarge Food Hub was one of the two shining examples given in the state and the town of Bradford. So yay, Kearsarge Food Hub. And it's been a joy to work with you. And when we do land acknowledgement statements to us, people ask us about it, like it's a meaningless thing if we don't have a working partnership that goes beyond. To us, it's a checkbox on a politically correct checklist, but Kearsarge Food Hub has proven 100% that this is not a meaningless checkbox on a politically correct statement. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherry. We know you're a really busy lady. So thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. And that really means a lot. It's been absolutely wonderful to collaborate with you over the past couple of years, and I can't wait to see what comes next. Next up, we're going to see another face, hear another voice. We have KFH Board Chair Charlie Kelsey. Charlie stepped into the role of board chair last fall, and there's literally no job that he won't do on the farm, in the cafe, meetings. He'll show up, he'll do whatever it takes. He has a passion for operational strategy, for asking hard questions, and for listening deeply to help make KFH the best it can be. So let's hear from Charlie.
Well, I hope you can
Like
hear
that,
me.
Charlie? You weren't
Yeah.
you weren't planning for that intro, were you?
No. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Well, I'm thrilled to be here tonight, and also to be part of this organization and working with an incredibly talented and committed board that includes Amanda Brindell. Amanda's a CPA. She works for Nathan Weschler as her full-time job, but lends her financial expertise to us. Leah Cummings, who's a local business owner. Kathleen Bigford, who is former chair of the board and longtime supporter and an educator in her previous life. Monica Rico, who is a local business owner. Ellen Brownson, who's a healthcare professional. I call him double Dr. Leon Malone. He is a PhD twice over, college professor at Kobe Sawyer. Peter Arnold, who's a software engineer, superb. Andy Jeffrey, who's a retired, luckily, process engineer and also a current holistic life coach in his own business. And lastly, and certainly not least, Steve Ford, who's a former software engineer and current local business owner as well. And our primary role is, on the board is to ensure that KFH is meeting its mission and fiduciary responsibilities and obligations, but especially setting a sound strategic plan and path for viability and growth. Each year, this being my first official year as a board chair, but I've been involved in other ways prior to this, but I suppose each year seems to be, the most important year. But 2022, by most measure, was indeed an incredible one. Many of you in this audience played a role as volunteer, customer, generous donor, employee. And as a result, KFH is strong, thriving, and growing. And thank you for all that you have done. The board is particularly proud this year for the work that's been done to provide more competitive compensation for the exceptional team members of the organization who without we just simply couldn't exist. We expanded our impact addressing food sovereignty. We've also done a lot in terms of broadening and engaged local and statewide community. And I think that's really an important part of what we're also doing. It's not so singular to Bradford by any stretch. Good work's been done. We've really made a difference, but there's a lot more to do. And I have admired and continue to the team that stays undeterred, enthusiastic, committed, and often under some pretty challenging circumstances. And recently, a poem was shared with me, and it's titled "The KFH Poem." And I thought there are pieces that articulate in words better than I what makes the heartbeat go and keep going. So if you'll indulge me, I'm just going to read a few verses from it. It's a labor of love, this thing that we do, sometimes asking too much of me and of you. So we learn to take breaths, to prioritize and subdue. But the heart is there and the mission is true. Do you know why we do what we do? Care for each other, cherish this land, heal our aching planet, and the loneliness at hand. We feed not just bodies, but minds, hearts, and souls, and give our best in an endless pursuit of worthy goals. We share a vision that's coming to be, making change happen for self and community. We get the job done. We from start to finish. Here at KFH, it's something just in us. We care, we learn, we build, we grow. And yes, we have a long way to go, but look at where we are at. Look at what we can do when we're in it together, me plus all of you. Things take time, but one thing we know, we're riding the waves and learning as we grow. So friends, thank you. The future is bright. Let's make it so together. Thank you.
Beautiful, Charlie. Thank you for sharing. It's so wonderful to hear from your perspective and your Sherry too. And France, I'll pass it on to you as we're moving into the next phase of our evening.
Thank you, Charlie. We're now going to hear from each of our program leaders in the spirit of learning as we grow. We're taking a moment to celebrate how far we've come, being honest about naming a challenge in each of our programs, and then one area that we're looking forward to growing into. I'd like to pass it over to Farm Manager Pierre.
Hello, everyone. So yeah, I'm going to try to fit this in the 5 minutes. Should be perfect. So yeah, I'm the CV farm manager and a co-founder, and I'm responsible for planning and implementing a farm plan that grows organic, nutrient-dense foods for our community and establish an environment where education can happen. The farm has grown lots over the last few years. We have grown infrastructurally. We spent lots of time establishing healthy and thriving soil through all our regenerative techniques, from minimum tillage to raised beds to crop rotation, creating natural habitats for beneficial insects, cover crop use, companion planting, just to name a few of these techniques. And the results of these regenerative techniques have resulted in higher yields, better quality yields, and which has also been amazing, has been the reduction in pest and disease pressure. And all of this has also, all of this has just also encouraged our soil health during this at the same time. And we've also been perfecting certain systems on the farm, from our nursery to propagation greenhouse, to our high tunnel production, salad mix production, microgreens production. It's been great to see all those things kind of come together. And all of that has been amazing. But what I really want to highlight about last year and about this year are the human beings that are on the farm. You can have the best soil in the world, the best tools, the best system, but without the incredible human beings to make it all happen, you really don't have much at all. And it was particularly obvious for me to see how amazing a team we have on the farm, because halfway through the year, I hurt my knee, and everyone stepped in and kept everything going. So I want to kind of give you a quick picture of this farm family we got going, starting with Julie, who's been a rock on the farm for some years now. She shows up with pizzazz and unrivaled passion every day, challenging Jake and I to be as sensible as we should be, and bringing laughter and fun into our days on the farm. I thought I had a lot of enthusiasm as an individual, but I think I have at least met my match. And so Julie is kind of, the farm mom, and without that, the farm would not be where it is today. Jake who was our first ever apprentice with Cassie, now has become a thriving farmer who is always eager to learn, which is so important in an adapting farm industry. We need to be efficient. We need to be using the right tools, the right knowledge and technology. And just today, Jake and I were discussing season extension and troubleshooting mold issues in the microgreens room, and even talked about how to better our spring succession next year. So it's just been so helpful to have someone to bounce ideas off, that understands the farm and farming, and he does all this with kindness and thoughtfulness. So that's been amazing. And then Rod, who joined us in the middle of the summer, really kind of brought it all together. She brings her thoughtful, poised, and creative self to the farm and grounds all of us into our own selves. She's always looking out for all of us and really brings a really solid foundation to our farm family. And of course, there are all the students that come and the volunteers and other KFH personnel that round out this core team. And the reason I wanted to mention all this is that I feel Sweet Bee Farm has an amazing foundation now and a really bright future ahead. And not only because of our healthy soil, but really because of the wonderful people who are living and breathing the farm. So now I just want to quickly mention a couple things. I hope I'm not out of time. I wanted to talk about a couple upcoming projects. We, as a regenerative farm, are always trying to close the loop, and we bring in a lot of inputs and different fertilizers and compost, and we're really focusing on establishing our compost project. We are working with the Composting Association of Vermont right now, and so that's something that will be ongoing throughout the year. And lastly, I want to talk about a project I'm really excited about. 3 local farms have been kind of coming together, including ours, to talk about how we can cooperate and collaborate to bring our farm resources together. And we're just at the start of this, but I think there's a tremendous amount of potential to see farmer cooperation in the Kearsarge area. And this is a little bit similar to the story of 3 Farmers Alliance in New Hampshire as well. And so I'm sure we will keep you up to date as that trucks along. Did I do it?
You did
Thanks,
it.
Pierre. Yeah. We're gonna see if there are, Tara, any questions? I don't know if we set that up. Let's see.
Right. Yeah. Don't forget that you can pop in questions if something strikes you need to hear a little bit more about, or just a comment that you want to make. Yeah, Spencer's dropping a comment about chicken manure. That makes sense. That's perfect.
Oh, battle or
Ooh.
yeah.
I love some chicken manure.
Seems like you have to connect with Spencer. Posted
So
that.
that's Spencer is Battles Farm, now Trails End Acres.
Oh, hi, Spencer. Yay.
Perfect.
For context.
See, this is the kind of stuff you can't write in. This just happens.
That's right. That's right. Does anyone have questions for the farm?
I wonder, am I allowed to ask a question?
Yeah.
There's one. What's your favorite veggie to grow? But that's a good one. I wanted to ask, like, that you can answer that one too, but how effective do you find the organic certification system? And as a small farm, is it accessible to you?
Yes, it is accessible, and all farmers can become certified organic, and it's not too cumbersome. And it gave us great access to certain markets, and also just reinforced our label, just to let people know that we're not spraying, we're not putting pesticides and those kinds of things on our vegetables, and using good techniques. So I think that there is definitely value to it. And then it is also encourages, for example, what I was just telling you as about the Farmers Alliance that we're starting to work on, those are all certified organic farms. And so it would be difficult to bring non-organic farms with organic farms together. So yeah, it's been, and obviously there's great partnerships that open up with organic certification. NOFA is one of those examples, who's done an amazing job bringing things. I just picked up from Denise and Monica Rico this weekend a NOFA bulk order, and that directly comes from the organic certification process.
Carol, do you have a question? Love to hear from you.
Hi, Carol.
Hi, Pierre, I know you do farm tours with schools and stuff. Have you ever thought, or do you have like a certain time that you'll open your farm up for people to come in for a tour for the day and talk about things, or?
Yes. It's actually really a question. It's amazing. Julie is our farm education coordinator, and she's been coordinating farm visits and stuff like that. And I work closely with her on that. We haven't thought about opening a specific time yet. But I like that suggestion. Maybe on Monday mornings or something like that, we could have an open window to have certain farm tours happening. Right now, we're more working with particular schools like Parker Academy or Kearsarge Regional High School and the elementary school to kind of do those farm visits. But I think that's a great suggestion, Carol.
Yep, the good stuff happening in the chat. If you want to learn more about organic certification, I did learn last year that they reduced the personnel for certifying. I'm not sure if that affects farm certification, but it was for processing facilities. We heard from another local partner, so that it's become even harder to get certified organic just for a lack of resources in the state to certify and follow up on organic certification, which, Pierre, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have an annual or some rhythm of getting kind of recertified.
That's exactly right. Yep. It's a yearly process. Once you do, the first time is always the hardest time, because you have to fill out a bunch of information, but this is just a reoccurring yearly process along with an inspection from an agent that will go around your farm and make sure that you're doing things appropriately according to the organic standards.
Very informative. Thank you. I think we're going to move on to our next section, but there's a lot of great questions about farm visits and tours and things. So we're going to be certain to make sure we follow up and give you all the information you need to know to visit Sweet Bee Farm. It's a lovely place. Speaking of, we're going to hear now from Julie, our farm education coordinator.
Yay, thanks, Hannah. So as Hannah said, I am our farm education coordinator here at KFH. So I focus on farm-based education programming as part of our larger, educational initiative. So there's lots of education that happens. I focus on the farm-based stuff. So to kick us off, so something we're celebrating from last year is the creation of my job, is this new role of farm education coordinator, which, truth be told, is my dream job at my dream organization with these gorgeous people that are on this chat with us today. So that's really the rose. And what this position has allowed us to do is not only strengthen existing programs that have been going on for years, our relationship with first graders, a farm apprentice program, things like that, but to launch new programs in 2022. So we've had more learners than ever. One of those programs is, it's called ELOs, which are extended learning opportunities. And that's in a partnership with a local high school. So Kearsarge Regional High School. So kids that sign up for an ELO come to us during their school day and get school credit for the hands-on learning they do with us at the farm. So Anna Cook, our ELO guinea pig, is on this. So shout out Anna, and she's still involved. Now she works at the market and she wants to come back out to the farm. And so it's a really cool way to get young people involved and then keep them involved. We're excited to do lots more of that. And we also started a new program with the local 3rd and 4th grade class. So and we're actually kind of participating in the Abenaki Seeds Project through the 3rd and 4th grade by we get seeds from the Abenaki Seed Project, and then in the spring we'll have the 3rd graders planting a Three Sisters garden, which will mature over the summer. And then they'll come back as fourth graders in the fall with the new third graders to harvest from that garden, kind of pass along what they've learned to the new third graders, and then start the cycle all over again. So it's a very cool kind of student teaching student program. So I'm really excited to see how those grow over this coming year. Something that we're a challenge in the program is kind of the intersection of farm education and farm production, right? So both of these things happen at a busy working farm, and more than ever, we're going to have more kids up there. And how do we make it work? I mean, we're growing almost 20,000 pounds of food up there, and we need everybody to be safe. We need the farm education program to flourish, and also the farm production to flourish. And, we talk about having kids in the production field. Kids trample things, kids weed things that aren't weeds. These are all things we need to sort of figure out how to navigate. We also joke about the farm production team harvesting out of the kids' garden because they're short on something, and then what if that throws off our plan? So just thinking about all these things and how do we make both goals work really well. So because without the farm production, there is no farm education. So we do need to, the farm is the foundation to the whole thing. So, and then lastly, something we're integrating this year is something that we're very, very excited about. I'm very, very excited to launch a new program in 2023, actually next month, like a few weeks. So, called Sweet Beets Farm and Forest Club. So this was really made possible by a really generous grant from the Door Foundation. I don't think Barb is with us, but shout out to Barb when you watch this recording. So that really made this program possible. The program is a half a day drop-off program once a week for homeschoolers or other kids that can sort of get out of school during that time, for 6-year-olds to 11-year-olds. So, and we're focusing not just on farm education, but also forest education, and how those ecosystems interact, because we tend to think about them as separate. You're either a farm educator or you're an environmental educator, but really these two things are not separate. So we're excited to kind of talk about those ecosystems in our program together. And it also includes putting up a farm structure, an education structure up at the field. So it's going to be a dedicated, safe, structure for kids or anyone else who's up there. And we also hired, well, Pierre already mentioned her, but Ra. So we have a third farm educator with us now. She's going to be concentrating on this Farm and Forest Club with me. So our farm education team has grown to 3, which is just so fun. And something really cool about this program is that there's so much community support for it. It kind of wasn't a problem we were necessarily thinking we were going to have, but registration for one of the first sessions filled up in 15 minutes. So it really identifies or demonstrates our ability at KFH to kind of identify and meet the needs of people in our community. But now we have a new need, which is to grow capacity already. So we're thinking about how to do that in the fall, because I don't want to turn any kids away that want to come and hang out with us. So maybe it's doing some modified field trips. It's maybe doing twice a week in the fall. So we're kind of trying to figure out how to, meet the demand, which is such a cool problem to have. So stay tuned for updates. So we're launching on April 6th, and Ra is an amazing photographer. So there's going to be like pretty cool photographs, I think, of the program. So
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Julie. We'll take, I haven't been looking at the chat, but if we'll take
Right.
one question for farm education, Julie, if anybody has a question. Da-na-na-na.
Pretty wild that registration filled up in 15 minutes.
pretty cool.
Definitely demonstrates the need.
All right. Well, let's because we're already starting to be a little tight on time, I think we'll move right along. Next up, we have Cassie. who is our food access manager. She oversees both Sweet Beet Market and our food security program. Thank you, Cassie.
Alrighty. Hi, everybody. So my name is Cassie, and as Franz mentioned, I am our food access manager here at the Food Hub. So that means I manage both our Sweet Beet Market as well as our food donation programs. And while they are two different and distinct programs, there are a lot of ways that they are interconnected. So for example, when I order through our market ordering systems, I'm also able to do so for our donations, which not only saves me time, but it also allows us to support our local farmers and food producers even more than we could have with just our market ordering. Also, market staff is so important to our donations. They receive all of our donations, they store it, they help pack it up, and they help with pickups as well. So a huge shout out to my market staff and a big thank you as well for that. And also it helps us mitigate waste in the market. So say I overorder things, which does happen sometimes. Instead of letting that food go to waste, we can funnel it through our donations programs, which helps save food from going in the trash and finding a home for it. But I will talk about each of them separately. So I will go ahead and start with market. So my celebrate, the thing that was exciting about 2022 is that we significantly increased our number of local vendors that we worked with in the market. And that's food vendors specifically. So we increased our number from 125 in 2021 to 148 vendors in 2022. So it's not only important for us to nurture the relationships that we're already working with and the farmers that we're already working with, but it's also important for us to expand our products and find relationships with farmers and food producers. And not only does that help us support more local folks, but it also helps us better serve our customer base who shops at Sweet Beet Market. So we're able to find new products, new flavors for people that we weren't able to provide previously. My regenerate, or kind of my thorn for the market for last year, was put simply rising food cost. It was seen across the board, everywhere, everything increased last year, and it was really tough to see families struggling with this issue. But I think it's also important that we speak to the resilience of our local food systems and having a small scale based system with that. And with that, we're able to absorb some of those changes that happen. And a really quick example of that was eggs. Everyone started calling eggs like golden eggs this year because the price raised so much. But some of the issues that we didn't really have to face because we're a small market were transportation costs. So as gas and fuel prices increased, folks who were buying eggs from like 300 miles away from where they were produced had to front those costs a little more than we did when, say, Spencer's on the call, his eggs come from less than a mile away, essentially. So some of those things were not as impacted by, and so we were actually able to keep our prices lower than even some big grocery stores because a resilient system is so important. And while all of those food prices were increasing and it's difficult, it's also an opportunity for us to educate and inform our customers and the community on why food costs are the way that they are. And finally, for the market, my integrate, the thing that I'm excited for in 2023 is working to increase our SNAP and EBT usage at the market. So not only can you use your SNAP and EBT in the market, but we also participate in a program called Granite State Market Match. And essentially that means that folks who use their EBT dollars in the market and buy produce, whether that be fresh produce or frozen produce, basically they pay for half of that cost with their EBT dollars, and the Granite State Market Match covers that other half. So essentially all produce is 50% off for folks who use their EBT dollars, which is an incredible resource. And I want to educate folks that they can use it here and encourage folks to use it at Sweet Beet, and just let as many people know as possible. So yeah.
Thank you, Cassie. That's a ton of information just embodied in Sweet Beet Market. It's really neat to see how the market really is central to increasing access, not only for the people who can shop there, but in other creative ways. And I know that SNAP and EBT usage increase is on the minds of many organizations looking at hunger throughout the state. So it'll be neat to see how we can collaborate. I think what we can do is maybe take 1 or 2 questions for Cassie after she talks through her the food security. Cassie, if you can just jump right in there, that would be great.
Yeah. Alrighty. So for food security, or just to give an overview, we currently work with 7 pantries, and have donated about $62,000 in 2021. And the pantries are Warner, New London, Henniker. We have Bradford Food Pantry. We work with Hungry Owl down at Keene State College. We work with Abenaki Helping Abenaki Pantry, and we also have our community fridge, which is our on-site free fridge. And that gets me to my celebrate, which is the success of the fridge that we had in its first full year of operation. We donated 8,780 items, which covers pounds of produce, individual grocery items, baked goods, all of that stuff, as well as prepared meals. And that equates to just under $27,000 that went directly through our fridge and directly to our local community members. And this is a really, really collaborative effort through all of our programs at Kearsarge Food Hub. It's produce that's donated through our farm, it's meals that are donated through our cafe, it's waste that's mitigated through our market. And so it's everybody coming together to work toward this one common goal, which I think is really, really great. Our integrate, so kind of our thorn for food donations this past year was, put simply, just keeping up with our demand. We saw, not only through the usage of our own fridge on site, but through direct communication with our pantry partners, that need increased a lot in 2021. I mean, we talked about all of the rising food prices, and so it was a challenge for us to keep up with donations, but a challenge that we did our best to keep up with. And that brings me directly to our something that we're excited about in 2023 is continuing to grow our food donation programs and continue to prioritize locally sourced, nutrient-dense foods that are often a gap in our food donation programs. And we plan on doing this by increasing our food donations by 10% this year. But there's a but, the kind of caveat of it is to do this without increasing our cost. So one way we plan on doing this is through gleaning projects. So essentially in this context, it's when we recover produce that would otherwise go to waste from farms. So a quick example is the last 2 years, we've worked with Glean Kearsarge to recover hundreds and hundreds, I'm not even exaggerating, pounds of carrots from Spring Ledge Farm, which we, it's the picture right there, actually, look at that. We store it at the market, we wash them up at our farm, and then we distribute them through our food donation programs, which has been incredible. And the other way we can increase our donations is through things like food drives. So we actually conducted our first ever food drive this February, and we got a total of 582 items from it, which was a huge success, and a big thank you to everybody who helped with that. And we're planning on making it an annual food drive, hopefully. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much, Cassie. We had just one question just about whether EBT can be used for all foods at Sweet Beets, and the answer is everything but prepared meals. And then the Granite State Market Match Program specifically applies to produce.
Yep.
Good question.
It is a good question.
So we're going to move on to our next program, right? Let's keep it rolling. We are going to hear about Sweet Beet Cafe. It might be a hot topic these days. We'll hear a little bit more about the state of the cafe from Lauren.
Hi, everybody. I'm back. Good to see you all again. Still, you know. As you know, I'm one of the co-executive directors. I'm also a co-founder. One of the roles that I play, one of the many hats, if you will, has been overseeing Sweet Beet Kitchen Cafe operations and facilitating its development over the years, really. And I really stepped in mid-year to, you know, get my hands dirty in the dish pit and etc. Anywho, I have we're following the same format here, you know, to celebrate something that was celebratory, something to regenerate, something that was challenging, and something to integrate, something we're looking forward to. So on the celebration side, top of mind, number one across the board, I think for everyone, is the vibrancy that the cafe operations have brought to the Sweet Beet space. You know, people coming together over good food, having good conversations, reconnecting after a couple years of pandemic life, you know, really just eavesdropping in like a very respectful way on conversations had, was, you know, revitalizing in so many ways and really inspiring and encouraging and, you know, just a beautiful thing. I'm sure we're all missing that right now. I've personally seen most of you in the cafe at one time or another. But anyway, beyond that, you know, the cafe also did a lot beyond just, you know, the cafe service. We also sent 875 meals to the fridge, and that mostly in the last half of the year. We also hosted or provided food for 10 different community events, including our very own July 2nd community fair, the New Hampshire Food Alliance strategic retreat, where around 50 food system warriors, heroes came, and it was like a meeting of the minds over yummy food. It was a magical thing. And we also hosted a farm bill listening session with U.S. Representative Annie Custer, hosted or co-hosted with NOFA New Hampshire. That was also a very cool meeting of the minds. We look forward to doing more of that in the future. And we also implemented a shift meal program, which was and is being felt in the other regard, like very strongly, widely throughout the organization. Essentially what that amounted to was providing a meal to every team member for every day that they worked. And that was to order too. So overall, that amounts to what would be about a $30,000 annualized value based on 2022 numbers, which is no small thing. It's one of the, you know, kind of, I mean, it's tangible, but it's one of the intangible benefits that we offer, and we really care about. Matters to us. Sharing food, providing food, not only to paying customers, but also to our staff, and through our, you know, food donation programs. The challenge, again, as you all know, the cafe is currently closed temporarily. You know, it's been a challenge essentially since the inception to figure out a way to design a model that hits all of the notes. You know, we're having the impact, we're sticking to the mission, to our principles of, you know, sourcing and, you know, scratch cooking, scratch baking, making everything with love and intention, and also making it manageable for our staff and having it be financially viable as well. So we're really taking this opportunity to take a step back, reassess, and figure out the best path forward to have the greatest impact possible, while really attending to that financial viability piece, and operational viability as well. So what we're looking forward to is integrating feedback from our community in terms of, you know, what you would like to see, and to help inform our path forward and how we decide to prioritize our activities in that process of designing a sustainable, viable model. I think, you know, I think that's it for now. We'll open to questions if there are any.
Questions? Anybody?
We've got a quiet crowd tonight.
Crickets.
Crowd.
Amp up the vibe because we're about to do some talking together, but it's not going to be in such a big group. So
I don't have I don't have like a question. Well, I do kind of have a question. I'm curious what your thoughts are. I mean, it was kind of elusive in terms of if you've had any ideas what you might do with the cafe. I've been trying to think over the 30 years of cooking and places that I've been, you know, how to do something. I mean, you're such a community driven business that, you know, I try to think of different ways. And when we were in Maine, when different chefs would host different things at this barn and they were cooking in cycles, you know, and in the restaurant industry, how I taught different employees that didn't even cook how to cook, but simplify the menu. You know, it saddens me that it's closed and no one can get in there. And I wish I could figure out a solution for it, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't know if there was any ideas outside of that, what they're going to do. And then also, you know, do you think about renting out the kitchen from time to time? Are there any caterers around? Are there any people that want to work for renting the space or something like that? I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas just so that it's you know, I mean, because it took a while to get open, and then once it got open, you know, it's difficult to staff. I mean, culinary industry is
Thanks, Brian.
horrible lately. So that's it.
No, thank you, Brian. Brian, for everybody else, is a chef, has worked in kitchens for a long time, so he's a pro. Lauren, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'd be happy to do what I can. You know, there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. We've definitely been thinking a lot about how to move forward. And again, like using this as an opportunity to take a step back. You know, it's the quieter months of the year. It's an opportunity for us to really make sure that our foundation is set. I think, you know, from when the Village Cafe closed and we, you know, kind of scrambled to figure out how we were going to fill that void, to, you know, kind of a last minute renovation effort, and then kind of just, you know, having that same sensibility that like we need to get something going as soon as possible. It's a disservice not to. And so, you know, for us, there's so many different things, like you said, Brian, there's so many different things that we could do with the space. We really, something that we have a knack for doing is trying to do too many things at once. So we're really trying to focus on simplifying and, you know, also hearing from our community in terms of what makes the most sense. You know, we have a mission. There's a question in the chat about, you know, farmer value added production. You asked about, you know, local caterers renting it out. We're doing catering ourselves, hosting community dinners, sticking with the, you know, cafe service model, focusing on grab and go or take and bake. There are a lot of options, a lot of opportunities, and there are synergies in different ways. But one thing I know for sure is that we can't do it all. So it's really a matter of figuring out and having a strong leader in that role, you know, taking someone who's experienced, knowledgeable, passionate, driven, you know, and resonates with the mission and is aligned with that. You know, those are all vital components of this. So we're trying to piece it all together, and we'll be looking for feedback, and we can kind of dig in more, maybe a little bit in the discussion or the listening session.
Yeah, I think the only thing I want to add, I see Spencer asked, you know, would we change anything? I think one of the questions we're asking ourselves is, I think we all love food to order, obviously, but it is a really labor-intensive model. And I think one of the questions we're asking ourselves is whether that's something that we want to continue to do. And that's one of the questions we'd love to dig into with all of you, to hear more about what is really valuable about that space. And what is it about that space? Is it how the food is served, the type of food, when the food is served. Is that what's most important to you, or is it simply that the space is open? And so those are the questions that we really want to dig into with the community. Thanks, everyone.
Good discussion. This is an important topic, and we know it would generate some interest tonight. So it's really important to take the time to acknowledge, you know, Brian, like you said, it's a tough blow to the community when we took all this effort to open the cafe in a way, and then we needed to close it again. And one of our main goals is in reassessing that is to not do that again. So whatever steps we take forward, we can be a little more certain, knowing what we know now, just because we're learning as we grow. Uh-oh, we did it. Knowing what we know now, designing it in such a way where we can be consistent for our community in whatever we provide. So that's definitely top of mind for us.
Yeah.
Hannah, is this something we're workshopping tonight?
So the main question that we're going to dig into is a little broader. But wouldn't be surprising if conversations in your groups kind of circulated around the cafe. And I think that's okay. We talked about it and thinking about how to guide the conversations tonight. We are having our surveys come out, a series of surveys come out, later this month. So there will be more opportunity to focus on this. And certainly it's something you can chat with in your group. Hopefully there will be other ideas too around how we can improve and enhance your engagement with KFH, not limited to the cafe, but certainly including that aspect.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
And so last but not least, we're gonna head over to community building with Hannah.
Ooh, me?
Yeah, you.
I'm not going to speak very long. I think that the breakout rooms and the listening session is certainly the most valuable thing tonight. One of my favorite parts of my job is as director of marketing and communications, we're really kind of relationship oriented, and I get to spend a lot of time in the community, either participating in certain projects or helping to tell the story and connect partners in the community. And it's a beautiful thing. So really quickly, I just want to say that celebrating, looking back on 2022, is our shared initiatives, where we're really intentional with groups of partners towards specific goals. And in community partnerships, it's really easy to kind of be all over the place and a little disorganized, and it's to be expected because a lot of people are working toward certain things. But we have the Abenaki Seeds Project as a beautiful example of a very specific, tangible collaboration. Last year, we were able to help over 50 local growers and community garden sites grow Abenaki heritage seeds in partnership with Abenaki Trails Project, Hopkinton Historical Society, and Warner Public Market. And we're hearing from Sherry and Daryl and everyone from the Abenaki Trails Project that it felt really great to help share education and information on native foodways. So it's a community building project. We're looking forward to thinking through how it can produce maybe more volumes of food, because also an ultimate goal is to donate to the Abenaki Helping Abenaki Food Pantry to generate culturally appropriate foods for our tribal neighbors. And one more example is Feed Kearsarge Food Education, Expansion, and Distribution. We're going into our 4th year now collaborating on projects like Tray It Forward, which is similar to Abenaki Seeds. We're trying to grow a community of growers, gardeners really, where people feel empowered to grow their own food at home. So this year we're gearing up to deliver another 400 trays to Food Insecure Homes, seedling trays, grown by Greg as we speak. Greg, I know you're here. I hope you're on schedule. So there's a lot to celebrate in our community building. It really is the heartbeat of our work. I already mentioned, but very briefly, we're going to be looking at in our regeneration or the challenge that we seek to address is being really deliberate and intentional about the partnerships we engage in, making sure that we're sustainable and that we're choosing the projects that are most impactful towards our mission. And looking to the year ahead, just really quickly, we're really excited to be more, to participate more in enhancing our local farmer networks. One project in particular that I'm super excited about is the Climate Farmer Stories Partnership with Vital Communities. So we're partnering with 11 other regional farms, many of which we don't even know at this point, guided by Vital Communities, which is a nonprofit in the Upper Valley region, connecting these farms with artists who are going to come to the farm and create art about the climate resilience practices on the farm. So communicating the story of climate resiliency through farming with art. And then there's going to be, I believe next spring, an exhibit of the art produced from this. And we're going to do a marketing campaign around that. So I'm super excited about that. We have so many other great things coming up in community building, but we don't need to get into it because we have a really special opportunity right now with all of you here. Many of you coming from different perspectives and all sorts of different voices to hear from around this question that we posed at the beginning, which is, how would you like to see us significantly improve your experience and enhance your engagement with KFH? What's on your heart and mind? Listening to everything tonight in the context of what you're learning, what can we do to improve our community service from your perspective? So we're going to, this is going to be the fun part. Hopefully nobody gets lost out there in the ether, but it's totally possible. We're going to randomly assign everybody to breakout rooms. I don't think we've ever done this before, right? Not in a group like this. Anyway, we're going to randomly assign you to breakout rooms. You will have a team of KFH facilitators there to help guide the discussion, the listening session. And we encourage you to use the chat, take a minute to think about, how you'd like to respond to this question. We're really going to take it to heart. And if you want to share something anonymously, more or less, please know that you can send a message directly to one of your facilitators who can speak on your behalf in the group. And the ultimate goal is to have one key takeaway, one thing that your discussion hovered on. Choose one spokesperson from your group that's going to share with the larger group when we come back to the main room. Sound good?
We're going to hear a little bit. We're hoping we didn't get to a spokesperson in our group, and that's okay. But I was wondering, let's just sort of go in order. We're going to ask somebody from Charlie and Julie's group to share maybe a little bit about your conversation.
Well, we didn't ask anybody, but I'll just do it. I think the overriding theme of input is that the cafe is an important element of creating community. It was, and really needs to be going forward. We did get into some thoughts and ideas about other uses, but those were subordinate to that main theme that we have a cafe that creates all the things that the cafe was doing. And so that's our main topic of input.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yep.
You're not alone. First, well, I guess we'll go to Kathleen and Pierre's group next.
Okay. So we had a couple of inputs. I think the first one was that it would be really nice to see more farmer cooperation and distribution. That seemed to be a pretty central theme in how to get farmers to collaborate more and do that. And the second point was to echo what Charlie just said as well, which was that the cafe is a really wonderful place to come together and have conversations and come together as a community. And that's obviously a really important aspect of KFH. And like Crispin mentioned, it is a central place for communication to talk about all the things that are happening within the community.
Thanks, guys. All right. Andy and Cassie's group?
We did select a spokesperson. So Sarah, can you share our feedback?
Yes, I would say I was assigned to be the spokesperson. Yeah, our group had a similar outlook on how important it was for the community aspect. There was some mentions of like the senior community, of having people who are older and need a place to just go and have a cup of coffee. We also talked about younger groups, as in toddlers having a place to come and maybe have a meetup type music or story. And we also talked about having it be a place for, other than a bar, for people to come and hang out. So I think the big topic was keeping it simple. A lot of people loved the expansive menu, but said it was absolutely not necessary, and that they would just kill for some coffee and some place to go and sit and talk to people. And then we also got to talk about a little bit more of the market, as well as maybe if the cafe was toned down, that there's more space for the market and to expand in that area. So I think I covered everything our group talked about.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Oh, it was Hannah and I's group. So I think we had two themes that sort of emerged. One of them was about sort of rebuilding the connection and the story of the farmers themselves, and doing so with, we could have some farm dinners where we really highlight either specific farms, or where we tell, whoever the cooking enthusiast, you can only serve food that has been grown or produced, within, maybe within Bradford or the Kearsarge area. And maybe we could do something like coordinating farm visits, so that we can really get people out to different farms and experience that and really see what's going on out there. And then the other side, the other thing that that kind of came up is that's already been mentioned, is simplifying. It sounds to folks like maybe we do a lot, and perhaps we've stretched ourselves a little bit thin. And so one of the ideas that was shared about how to simplify is doing something as simple as having one meal of the day. There's a meal, there's food for everyone, have a bite, and there's not this expansive menu to choose from, and it would create simplicity in sort of in every part of the process. So anyways, that's one of the ideas. That's sort of an extreme, but I think the simplifying theme is an important one. And then last but not least,
Lauren and Billow's group.
Julie,
Yeah,
Julie, did you have something to say, Julie? Just real quick.
Well, I thought you were the last group, and I wanted to like bolster mine and Charlie's group, because we went first and it was really short and there was some really good things in there. So maybe we can tag on at the end.
There is time. Yeah, there is time to add. Let's you can tag on at the end. Let's hop over to Billow's, and then we'll circle back. Might have a time for a couple back and forths.
Oh, we had a great group, and in particular, Nancy, Bob, and Susan threw out quite a few really good topics and themes. In particular, the idea of how originally, when people engaged, particularly at the market, there was the sense that you were being educated about the mission, and how that really resonated with people who were discovering Sweet Beets for the first time. And they felt like that had maybe been lost a little bit, just because things were getting so much busier. But really kind of finding ways to reconnect people and inform people about the mission would be really cool. And then, also finding ways in which people can engage with that mission, whether they want to volunteer on the farm, or whether they want to be a donor, or whether they want to help out in the kitchen, or just presenting those opportunities. And then another theme was, let's spread the net a little wider, and kind of riffing off that, beyond Bradford. And so riffing off that, we asked Bill to be our spokesperson, because he had a really interesting insight, because he's now living in New London and discovered Sweet Beets, but was quite alarmed that some people hadn't heard about it. So Bill, over to you.
Yeah, so it's really more commentary, and I'm certainly happy to be part of finding solutions. But the comments that we discussed really were that of an ever increasing circle of friends and acquaintances, mostly in the Lake Sunapee, New London area. The number of people that I would talk to about Sweet Beet and about the mission of KFH that really had never heard of it. And so I think that, again, we didn't have enough time to brainstorm additional solutions, but trying to find other mechanisms, other ways of communicating and spreading the word and getting more, whether they are customers, volunteers, potential donors. I think that there is a very large group of individuals in the broader geographic area that I think would be very interested in supporting KFH in one of those capacities. They just don't know about it.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Bill. That's always good to know.
And tonight, really, we're generating these ideas, and we don't expect to find all the solutions. So we're going to take everything that we're hearing and integrate it into how we're moving forward. And there's certainly be ways to continue collaborating with you all on that. Julie, did you want to hop in and add a couple more details from your group?
Yeah, sure. So there was one thing in particular that we talked about a bunch, and that was the thought about using the kitchen to let local farmers make value-added products in there. And we wanted to be clear that this was not like to replace the cafe, but maybe, you know, in the evenings or on off days. And funny because, and we hear that we all want to do too much, and like we know that, but this is kind of like we had to say it anyway because it would be such a cool thing. And Monica and we all think about, oh, that'd be cool. I wonder if people would want to do it. But Monica was saying that she knows that this is a very specific and she actually said tremendous need for commercial space for small farmers to make those value-added products. So kind of a cool one.
Thanks, Julie.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts, comments while we're in this space together for the last remaining minutes?
I could just say thank you for really highlighting so many people who are working at Sweet Beet. I think that was really nice to get faces and meet all the leaders and everything you're doing as leaders at Sweet Beet. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Dabney. We've never really done this before. It's a lot of firsts tonight. So a lot of voices from our team and a lot of voices from you all. So it feels really awesome to, as Tara mentioned earlier, weave this tapestry. At least she mentioned it to me, perhaps not to you all, but I love that description.
Brick, do you have a comment, question?
Yeah, I have no idea whether this is on the money or not. It just kind of hit me when you were talking about your 5 areas that you're trying to figure out and you don't want to drop any one of them. And it just makes me think of kind of an ecology where there's a balance that needs to be reached. And when we get out of balance, things don't feel right. And just, is there a way to think about this? And I don't have an answer to this, but just, is there a way to approach this, a process to approach this in thinking about it in a natural way and thinking about it in a way that creates an echo balance? I mean, it may be way out there. I don't know. I only had one glass of wine, but
It's not way out there. That sounds like a really nice way to a nice lens to look at this thing we're trying to figure out, this nut we're trying to crack.
I remember we wrote a description for a grant, I think last year, where we started to look at things in that way, where we were describing how in this rural area and with all the things we're trying to achieve, that it really is like each one of these things that we're trying to do feeds into the other. They're not isolated. They are an ecosystem. And it is about finding the right balance of energy across them and amongst them to serve the community in a wholehearted way. So that's really beautiful.
I just want to say kudos to you all. I think it's what you're doing and what you wished and hoped to achieve is incredible. So you have the Bauer backing 100%. And I'm sure I speak for Bill, for Mark Bilby there as well. We think what you're doing is incredible. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I have a request. Before we wrap up. Well, there's a lot of great faces here. I'd love to take 2 screenshots. If you don't want to be in a screenshot, you can unvideo yourself. But I would really love it if you could, and it will be shared through our social media channels. So as a look what we did together, because this is a really special thing for all of you to take the time. This is kind of like ground level co-creation stuff. So I assume everyone who has their camera on here, we're in slide 1, which you don't know what that means because that's what I'm looking at. But okay, smile and ready, hang on. Done this before. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm moving to the next room. I don't want to miss anybody. So have your cameras on if you want to have the, just bear with me. Okay,
You guys
ready?
look beautiful. Everybody looks
This
beautiful.
is great. This is great. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
All right.
We're wrapping up then, right, Franz?
We're wrapping up. We're wrapping up, everybody.
One final slide. Just great. So you've given us a lot to think about. Thank you, everybody, for your thoughtfulness and for your presence. It's really, really remarkable to have this group of people spending this amount of time with us to hear and listen and learn, and then to offer what you're thinking. I'm truly humbled from the evening, so thank you. We're excited to follow up, and we have a lot of great stuff coming up, so we really hope you'll stick with us. The link to this recording, please share it. If any of this feels inspiring or reminds you of someone, share it widely with your network. In addition, we will be sending on a very comprehensive 2022 annual report, which encompasses a lot of what you heard tonight and a lot of what you didn't. We have impact numbers, we have narratives, we have a story to tell in that document, and we're really excited to report back to you as a thanks to our donors, our customers, our supporters, like, look at what we did in 2022 together. So we're really excited to send that out. Look for it. Hopefully, the plan is tomorrow afternoon. So you'll be that, right, Franz?
That's right. That's right, everyone. We are also going to be sending out a series of surveys on the cafe and the kitchen, because we really are seeking your feedback, and it'll be detailed. There'll be 2 or 3 of them. Please take the time. We're going to keep them as short and sweet as we can. We're shooting for 3 to 5 minutes per survey. But it'll really be helpful for us as we understand what we can and should do with this really important space that you have all invested so much in. And finally, at this point in the evening, you're all KFH experts, you're all KFH advocates, you're supporters, and I just want to tease that we'll be hosting our Grow With Us monthly giving program campaign in the month of April. We will need your help to hit some really ambitious goals. It'll be an all hands on deck situation to ensure that we can grow our monthly giving program to keep up with the growing impact that hopefully we've demonstrated for you here tonight, and as well through our annual report. So stay tuned for that. I know it's everybody's favorite thing. And then
we're hearing, oh, go on, Cross.
Oh, and then I was just going to say, it's not here, but somebody suggested that we send out the poem. So we'll be sending out the KFH poem to all of you as well, written by, I believe, Hannah Flanders here on the call. And then last but not least, of course, please sign up for our newsletter. We'll be sending out all sorts of information about all of this, but also other fun opportunities like the Abenaki Seeds Project, if you want to grow seeds, like Feed Kearsarge, if you want to sign up for a tray. We try to keep things reasonable and not too much information, but that's the best way to stay in touch. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, for dedicating 2 hours of your day to listening to all of this. It is incredibly humbling and an honor to serve you all and our community. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Truly, truly magical evening. Thank you. We have to have outro music next time. Intro music, outro music. Also, when
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You're
Have a good night.
Cheers.
Absolutely amazing.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
Olivier.
Where?
There. Hi, Olivier. Hi.
Oh, little cutie.
That's my son. Oh dear.
Eric got a haircut.
It's bedtime.
Oh,
Show us what you do, bro.
All right.
Holy
face.
moly.
Oh, no.
Garrett.
Oh man.
Looking so
Whoa.
fresh.
What a couple of cuties.
Suavito smoothie.
Are we doing some after hour hangout here on Zoom? Or
Yeah, this is party time now.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Thank you. All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Guys.